If you're listening right now to the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast, we know something about you. We know that you're obsessed with Little House on the Prairie.
For more than half a century, Little House on the Prairie, the series and the books have been bright lights for people all over the world who seek out goodness, decency, and human connection.
Here on the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast, we celebrate everything that made Little House so special.
The stories, the characters, the actors, and the messages that have made Little House iconic family television.
And a perfect counterpoint to a world that feels like it's going off the rails every day.
Where is Michael Landon when we need him most? I'm your host, Pamela Bob.
And I'm your prairie bitch, Allison Arngrim.
And I'm Dean Butler.
Our hashtag imaginary boyfriend. Join us for our loving, quirky, and often irreverent conversations about the finest family drama in the history of television.
And the imperfect people who made it that way.
Presented by our devoted patrons, and visit SealyValley.com.
Well, well, well. Hello, bonnet heads, and we're back. We are in our post-show, what would we even call this, haze? It was a whirl.
Yeah. I'm in my third cup of black coffee this morning mode,
Yes.
back in Los Angeles.
This is chocolate protein with a scoop of espresso powder.
Yes. It's
Awesome. That sounds good.
But a good post-show haze. Hi, everyone. It's me. It's Pamela Bob, host of this podcast here and creator and star of Living on a Prairie. I'll do the introductions, even though they know who you are by now.
But we love to hear it.
Do it again.
And we do love to hear it.
We love to hear it. Yeah, sure.
Our wonderful prairie bitch. Here she is, Allison Arngrim. Yay! And he's mine, but also your hashtag imaginary boyfriend. That's right, Dean Butler. Hi, guys. We're everyone is back in their homes. You guys are in Los Angeles. I am back here in New York. We just had our live podcast. We're recording on a Monday, so just 2 days ago, not even a full 2 days. And it's been...
No, not even.
No, but how amazing was it? It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, mind-blowingly great.
I was just going to say, I think there's something about being in New York. There's a mythology about New York for our entire country. There's just a magic about it. And if you've had anybody who's ever performed anywhere knows that that's sort of like the mecca of all of that. And look, we're doing a little tiny thing here, but to do it there in this wonderful space, I mean, I would recommend to anybody, Green Room 42 is a fantastic place to do an event like what we did. Just the wonderful energy of people, the acceptance and excitement that we got from people, the addition of Charles Bloom, I know we're going to talk about extensively. It was just really Pamela, this was your idea to come and do this in New York. So excited. Yes, I bowed down to you.
Because I was sweating bullets all week. I was like, oh no,
awesome.
This was my idea. Oh no, what if things don't go well? Oh God, this is all going to be my fault.
Yes.
You are such a trooper, Pamela. You really are. I mean, you just step in all the way. Allison and I got ourselves there eating chocolate on the route to New York. But it was a great week. I loved being there with both of you. It was really fun.
Well, that's part of also. Oh, sorry, Allison, go on.
It was amazing because, Dean had spent time in New York 100 years ago in Broadway, but you said at the time you were working like constantly, and we were like, "Have you been to this? You've been to this?" He's like, "I didn't really have time." And so we go to lunch, and you know me, I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're having lunch. What the heck? Oysters? You got oysters?" So I order, and I go, "Now will people share that?" Dean, was that literally your first oyster? Did you actually?
Oh, no. I've had oysters before.
Oysters, that particular
escargot, oysters. I've done some of the exotic, what do we call that kind of food? I mean, it's sort of soft and gelatinous and
right?
you know,
an acquired
but
taste.
it's
But now,
yeah,
you,
but
you
no, I've
hadn't
had
had the
all that.
Washington West Coast. You hadn't had the Washington West Coast oysters. They were, because you were saying, wait, is there a difference? I'm like, yes, there is. And so
Yes, yeah, yeah.
we were all over town. Now we did turn you on
Well,
to the
we were all
scallion
over
pancake.
we were all over Midtown,
All
y'all.
over
Midtown,
we
yeah.
wanted
Which
to
was
do
really great, actually.
No, but yes, we did scallion pancakes the first
You had
night
not had the
we were
scallion
together.
pancakes.
Yes,
Chinese
that was
scallion
good.
pancakes.
But we didn't get to do the Brooklyn Bridge and Katz's Deli and all the New Yorkie stuff
Yeah.
because you guys arrived Monday night and we started working Monday night on the show. I mean, we were together every single day until through the event.
Including dancing
And
in
after the
Times
event.
Square with Minnie
With-
Mouse
yeah.
Nellie, apparently.
Let's
with
tell that
Joy-
story.
Okay, go ahead, tell the story because
No,
I sort of
Yeah.
missed the moment. So tell what actually happened.
So our wonderful and brilliant social media directors, Joy and Christine, came along with their parents. Their mother, Barbie, came and helped us so much. Their stepdad, Carl, came. They call him Pa.
Great.
They call him
Both
Pa. Helped us. Like, we literally could not have done this without, this is a dog and pony show we have. One day we'll have a brilliantly large team of people doing all this stuff for us, but it was really a DIY,
nice.
thing.
Guerrilla theater.
And so on Wednesday, we were like, okay, this is social media day. We got to take lots of videos. We got to do the thing. And so we were all around. We took all of these videos, some which have not even been posted yet. They're really fun. But we were in the middle of Times Square, and we're doing that funny little dance video. And so we're dancing, and there's, the people in the costumes in the middle of Times Square. So there's Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse and, there's Spider-Man. There are all these people. And we're in the middle of shooting this video, dancing, and the Minnie Mouse is walking by us. And then we just see her stop, turn around, obviously recognize you guys. Obviously recognize who you are. In the costume, in the full Minnie Mouse costume, and just started waving in costume while we were dancing. And you can see on that video me pointing and going, hi, because I guess it was the Minnie Mouse.
And all these Mickey, Goofy, Elmo people are walking by us in the shot. They're in the shot. They're walking through. There's people. It's the most bonkers video because it's so clearly. Talk about authenticity. We just clearly randomly chose a spot. Let's do it here, and just started dancing. And we can't hear the music, so we're like, whatever.
I had the earphones in.
Down with the cartoon characters crossing it behind.
It was so funny.
What's one of the cool things about that space, and I have not spent a lot of time in Times Square. It just didn't work out that way when I was there. But sort of a fascinating phenomenon is you can be in Times Square and do absolutely anything. And other than Minnie Mouse, nobody cares.
But that's all of New York. That is all of, because believe me, I've been there, done it, and no one cares. It's quote unquote normal. It's just, it's a city full of eclectics and artists and people doing stuff.
We were doing crazy stuff all over town. But remember there were people walking by, and there was that woman walking by. We weren't sure if she was crying or laughing.
Oh, she was crying.
Having, massively intense moment as well. And everyone was just like, hi, how you doing?
That's the thing about New York. You could be crying
it's
hysterically
amazing.
walking down the street, and no one
And nobody
bothers
cares.
you. No one cares, which is both a pro and a con. It really is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You're
we had
free.
so much
You
fun.
are absolutely free to be whatever you are in whatever state of being you are. You can be that in that city.
Yes.
That is a pretty remarkable thing.
It is.
Yes.
That is not the case in a lot of places that.
That's
one
why
could
New
be.
York is great. You can have your moment anywhere you want, anyway.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, okay, whatever, man.
Yeah, it's just another Tuesday. I know, but I will say, we see you, but we're not going to bother you. She's crying, and we all cry. Yeah, who cares?
In many cases, they see you and they're just taking a quick route around you.
That's it.
No one wants to interfere. They don't want us to. They just keep. Everyone's living their life, and it's just they're doing what they need to do in that moment.
But I will say part of what also, I mean, yes, the show was, I think, incredibly successful, and we had so much fun doing it. And I think we all had, the day before, we sort of had a little mini run through. And
Yeah,
I
that
think
was good.
we were done
Yeah.
with the run through, and we sort of all looked at each other and went, I think this is going to be really good. Like, ooh, we got something here. But the best
Well-
part about the week was being with you guys, just together, finally in the same place, and spending days and days and days together and loving every
It was
moment
fun.
of it.
It was fun. I agree with you on the run through when it was finished. I just have such, and everybody pretend like we're just talking to ourselves here. I have such confidence in the two of you that things are always going to work. It's just one way or another, whether it's, whether it goes sideways, up, down, left, right, doesn't matter. It's going to work out in the end, because we're all just going to hang with each other.
Yeah.
We just keep stepping forward. And I think that's really the deal.
Well, I think when we had the little musical rehearsal in Charles Bloom's
Oh,
small apartment
my
with
God.
his giant dog, his giant puppy, his
A bear.
Parker, the beautiful
He's a
dog
bear.
Parker.
He said,
Oh my God.
it's a golden retriever. I'm like, cross with what? A rhino? What?
Yes.
Dog
A polar
was so
bear.
cute. He was like a Siberian tiger with his giant head and his big paws. And then he was like,
Sweet.
and he thinks he's
Sweet
a lap
dog.
dog. He thinks he's a lap dog. And all of us, he's like, I love you. I love you. I love you. Can I sit
Tongue
on you?
as
I
big
love
as your
you.
face.
The
Yes,
biggest
one lick
dog in
covers
the world
everything.
going, I love you. It was like hysterical. But when we did that music run through, and he sang that song, Pearly Day, and then we sang. I
Oh
went,
my God.
oh boy, we've opened Pandora's box, baby. This is going to be a whole other thing now.
Yes.
Yikes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, really good. Really good. Pamela, I think we should take us into the show so we can talk about these things in greater detail. But just suffice it to say, what a great week we had in New York. And now we have more.
We
so
have
Pamela,
more.
Take us to it.
Right. So before I announce, what I always announce before we start the show, I'm just saying the audience had questions in the live podcast. We got like 90 index cards worth of questions, and obviously I could not answer all of them during the live broadcast. So I promised everyone we would answer them here on the podcast. Now, this might have to be a two-parter episode because we have a lot of questions, but I think that's okay. I think you guys want to hear all of this stuff. So anyway, from UBN Go and Prairie Partners and our patrons and visit SimiValley.com, this is, 1 million downloads, the Little House on the Prairie 50th anniversary podcast. We're back, everybody. All right, here we go. Questions, audience questions that were not answered during the live podcast. Here we go. Cora wants to know, if you could change one thing about your character's arc throughout the series, what would it be? Thank you, Cora.
Nice question.
I know, these are good questions.
We're pondering. I've thought about it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
Wow,
difficult
Cora,
question.
you've got them tongue-tied.
Yeah, no, good. I mean, a really great question, Cora. I think that, I would have liked to have seen the character be of, at least in the beginning, the beginning of the character was an object. And that's what, that's what the character was there to do. And I think there certainly was nuance. I wish there could have been some more gentleness and I mean, there was sweetness. There was definitely a lot of sweetness, but I wish there could have been more of that to see relationship, to see more connection with the totality of the community. But that's that's the nature. Relationships get compartmentalized. People are boxed with certain individuals with it, and it all
I see
is
what you're
woven together. but would have been nice it just would have been, I would have loved to have had more interactions with different characters, because I think we had a wonderful group of characters on the program.
Right, because they kind of made it the new beginning thing and half the gone, and then you're also kind of like the object. Well, it's in the books. He shows up, they get married,
That's true.
they have the kid.
That's true.
This
That's
is
true.
what's
No,
you're
that's
gonna have
true.
a stroke, and then you're gonna. It's like, because me and Percival kind of went off the pages into the imaginary ether zone. Like, what could happen next? Twins, Betty and Ginny. What? I loved being mean and terrible and what is wrong with this girl so much that when I got nice, it was a little difficult at first, because like, well, now what? Now it was cool at the beginning because I was like only nice when Percival was in the room and stuff, and then we go what, and that was kind of fun. The schizo phrase, and then with Percival, well, it made sense because when the twins, but then I don't think they were sure what to do with me either. Well, now she's nice. Now what happens? And I was like, now what happens? Okay, I got the babies, we got the hotel. And there were episodes that I talked about towards the end where I was kind of like, when it was a struggle, like, do I stay or not? Because it was like, well, now I'm just another great chick on the prairie, like all the other lovely ladies on the prairie, and here's your coffee. And I'm like,
that is not where you wanted to be, understandably.
When you're serving the
last
coffee,
episode
it's like the kiss of
I
death.
think my lines were 2 more lamb stews and do you want coffee? And I went, oh, this is not her. This is so not her where she would be at. Like, there should be something else going on. I know that I did have a fantasy, and Steve and I talked about it. We all laughed. Said that what if Nellie had a relapse? Something went wrong, midlife crisis. There was a problem with the children. It was too stressful. And she gets wiggy and becomes really angry and terrible again. And Doc Baker has to come over and see, is it a medical thing? The Reverend Alden has to step in. Percival's at his wit's end. She's just completely reverted and is impossible and is screaming at everyone. And is she okay? And that would have been great. And so it's there's all kinds of kooky things. We could have come, what if we came back from the city as successful store owners in New York? What if spin-offs weren't as much of a thing in 78, 79 as they are now? Everything's a spin-off, everything's a crossover. Spin-offs weren't a thing. But a spin-off to Percival and Nellie, the Coens in New York, running the Jewish store in his dad's neighborhood. I mean,
my God.
Yeah, what if that? All kinds of kooky things. That would have been fun. But in the 1970s, early 80s, that shift, it was really more in the late 80s, and by the 90s, shows started having these kooky crossovers and changes and spin-offs, and it just wasn't that kind of show or that kind of time. So it was but absolutely, I would have done things, I would have had a little twist maybe towards the end.
All right, fascinating. Okay, okay. Hi, Allison, Dean, and Pamela. Fascinating. Well, it is. I mean, I have thoughts. I think because they couldn't have Nellie be bad again because she's a mom now. She's right, but she could have an awakening of how horrible and she was raised by her mother, how horrible her mother is, and a reckoning with her mom. That could have been
she's raising.
Yeah, and now she's aware of what the hell. Yeah.
As the daughter goes, wait a minute, my daughter's not horrible. Wait, oh, you're not born that way? It's your mother makes you like that? Wait, what? My mother used to start going, oh, yes, well, or even her saying something ridiculous to her daughter, and Percival going, why did you just say that to her daughter?
Yes.
Well, my mother always told me, oh.
Correct. Correct.
Oh, no.
And this happens with parenthood anyway, of being wait a minute. You have your own children, and then you're wait a minute. This wasn't. Yeah, so that could have been a fun discovery of.
Right, she breaks the cycle. Nellie breaks the cycle of narcissistic abusive behavior.
Right, exactly. Right. That would have been fun to see, the breaking of that cycle. Okay, next question. Hi, Allison, Dean, and Pamela. This is Andrew, who have been doing the BuzzFeed interviews, who I met afterwards.
Love you. Love you. Yes.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Nice
young
man.
Who have been doing the BuzzFeed interviews with Cast, which has been a dream come true. Oh, he's a bonnet head on the BuzzFeed team. What is your favorite? Yeah. What is your favorite Little House question to get in an interview?
Did you enjoy playing Nellie and being so terrible? Did you enjoy all those terrible things you did? Because yes, I did.
Yes.
And remembering some of the moments where I was particularly pleased, where I had I found a particular expression or particular line reading or a particular moment where it's like digging in that knife kind of thing. And I went, "Ooh, that was really good."
Yeah.
There were certain moments where, yes, that was quite satisfying. And yes, I did. I enjoyed it. And there were some scenes, certain lines, moments I went, that was good. Yeah, that was good. And so I do like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Dean, what
You know,
what
I'm
is your
just,
favorite question?
You know, I have to say this may seem like a total cop out to me, but I'm so grateful that we get questions that people continue to connect with this in a way that generates a question that they want to know something about it, any aspect of it. I just think it's great. So it's that involvement
Yeah.
that is really the thing. Now,
Yeah.
after all these years, it's the connectivity, the fact that it continues to touch people, to inspire a question.
Right.
That is an incredible gift.
Yeah, I'd say I'm just happy to be part of the conversation, I guess. Every time I'm somehow involved, I'm like, well, what? Me? How? Why? Awesome.
Well, I think
You're that lady.
Who's that?
lady?
Who's that lady?
Who's that lady? Who's that lady?
Who's that lady?
Yeah, use that.
It's just the amount of comments we get. I mean, it's every week, but I've started screenshotting them and sending them to Dean and Allison and Joy and Christine of the comments weekly, sometimes multiple times a week on our posts. Someone inevitably
that?
will comment, "Who's that? Who is that? Who's that lady?" I'm like, what more do I have to do? I introduce myself every week. Why?
I know how many, and we introduce you
I know.
right there in the podcast. We talked about how we found, why we called you, and people still ask,
So
"Who's
now,
that lady?"
now I'm claiming it. We're claiming it. We're making it a thing.
Who are
I'm
you,
hashtag
lady?
Who's that
Now-
lady?
And to be fair, you got a lot of "Who's that lady," but you also got "Who's that lady?" And then
That's
when they
true.
say, "Oh," they went, "Is she single?" You
that's
got
true.
a lot of
Oh, love that.
I
And
did get a
Is
lot
she
of that.
single?
They
Love
were
that.
polite.
That's awesome.
It wasn't "Who's that lady?" It was who's that lady? It was, you were getting comments.
Yeah, no,
It's ridiculous.
that's pretty cool.
We're
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
big thanks to
Yeah.
all of us in the
Yes,
cast.
Pamela, you're a very
Yeah.
attractive lady,
Well,
so
thank
it's like
you.
people notice.
She's
I don't
adorable.
notice,
Yeah.
but thank you. That's very kind. I
Even
don't
Bob
see
thinks
myself
you're
that way,
adorable.
but
You're
that's
adorable.
lovely.
Yeah. Well, for all of us in the cast, I think the big thing is people are asking us questions 50 years later.
Totally.
Yeah. How grateful we are anybody's asking.
Totally.
it's amazing.
Totally. Okay, this one's a hoot. Ready? They didn't sign it. Don't know, but it says, "Can you say hi? Can you say hi to a table of Farmington, Connecticut refugees?"
Oh, I know who that is. I've had a lot of people at the show had been to our other events, including the infamous Connecticut event that was insanely overcrowded and off the charts cuckoo
Yeah.
and totally disorganized mess. And we had people who were there and they were like, "Yeah, we went. We still had a good time. It was great." But that's probably Janet and company. That's so
Okay,
gang,
got it.
probably.
Well, hi,
hi
guys.
everybody. Yeah, I know who you are. Yeah, the people. I think we should have T-shirts for all of us that said "I survived the Connecticut."
Connecticut? Oh, that's a cool idea. I
I
survived
funny.
Connecticut.
survived to get a little house
You know,
for the cast as well. It was-
I think that, that comes up all the time. I hear that constantly because I think we were, in many ways, far more sort of concerned about the way that went
yeah.
because we were looking at the size of the lines, the lack of food, the lack of
and
water.
sitting in a room with no air conditioning. Hey, hi.
Sitting in the room. Well, and that was okay. So we were,
insane.
yes, I mean, all of that.
So
But
good.
when you talk to people, they still say what a good time they had.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just knew that was not a good time we were ever going to sanction again.
Yeah.
But people did have a good time. So that was a nice thing.
People come up to me laughing and going, "Oh man, what a train wreck!" I had a blast. I got
Yeah.
to talk to you. It was lovely. I don't know how you guys stayed there all day. How did you even survive? Oh my
Yeah.
God, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
There-
boy.
it's-
All right. Ready for next question?
yeah.
Sure.
Nellie, they're calling you by character names. Ready? This is from Jen. She says, thank you, Jen. Nellie, how did you mentally prepare to play such an iconic villain at such a young age? And Almanzo, if you could film one more episode today, what would it be about? Good questions, y'all. Think about it.
You
Think
go
on
first,
it.
Allison.
I
You go first.
didn't prepare first. I mean, it was very organic. It was very method. But it kind of was. It was like we all have things that annoy us. We all have bad days.
Yeah.
We all have people who are working our last nerve. We've all been there. And people say, do you ever teach acting? I say, oh no, but I do villain counseling. If someone comes to me and says, I have to play an extremely objectionable character, I have this audition and I don't even like this person. I don't got to do this. I'm like, come here. And I can absolutely walk you through how to, because I know that thing. Well, the first thing I would do, our scripts just leapt off the page. So it's very easy to go, oh, okay, we're doing that. I get it. But I would go through it with different line readings, different, as they would say, intentions. Like, should this be more forceful at Laura? Or should this be more throwaway? Like, everybody knows that. Is it more that? Is it more nee in your face? Or is it more like eating a piece of cherry pie and going,
right.
Hey, is it, which terrible attitude am I?
What version of terrible were you? Yeah.
And my biggest test was I would sometimes read it out loud and go, oh, that's annoying. Ooh, that was bad. And when I got to the version that was like fingernails on a blackboard and made me want to punch myself in the face, I went, yeah, someone. And do that one. The one where I went, God, if somebody said that like that tone, that would drive me crazy. I'm going to say it like that. And then the general thing was that, as I said, I was a teenager. We all have angst and things. I was allowed to let it all out. So anything that was bugging me, anything, just life being 13, I could just go, like people said, did you take it home with you? I said, no, it was an exorcism. It was all out. It was all out. Let it out. There it goes. And I would just spit it all out. It was like those scenes where I'd be screaming and wrecking a room. Yeah. Because you could just let it all go and throw those bags of flour or those dishes or whatever I was flinging. And
it's
really
like a rage room. Like a
rage room.
You're paid to be in a rage room. Yeah.
I was in the rage room. I was paid to be in the rage room. Exactly. This therapy. So, all that would come out. And so I would enjoy it enormously. Like I said, the stuttering one was a little hard picking on the stutter. It's like, ew, that's bad even for me. But then once I did, I went, wow, this is really bad. This could be cool. It was revenge on every bully that had ever tormented me because I would imitate them. Yeah. It had so many things going on. But yes, all of those things factored into it. But generally, the biggest one was which version of this would irritate me the most, that would send me screaming from the room if somebody's talked like that. And I go, that one.
So smart, though, especially for a child to know what to do. I mean, you're a great actor.
Yeah, the theater. My parents ran a theater. Even before they were married. That's it. I mean, it was around actors. That's what people did all day. I don't know.
Yeah, so great.
Nice.
Okay, Dean. What about you?
So,
yes,
I would have loved to have done a story around a moment between Eliza Jane, Almanzo, and their parents, admitting the moment about the blacking of the stove blacking thing on the wall, and the moment where Eliza Jane gets to say that she fixed it instead of letting it be discovered by their mother that their parlor at home as a boy was ruined. Now, you'd have to set all that up.
Yes.
You'd have to do a flashback. You'd have to explain it. But I think it would be a wonderful thing to see the kind of parents that Almanzo had that made him
why couldn't they have
the
had a
young man
flashback?
that he
Right,
was.
totally.
Oh, with the cute little child actors playing Lucy Lee and you. Oh, with the room getting black and ruining the wallpaper. Oh.
And then being able to have that. I think Lucy and I had a really good rapport just because we connected with each other so instantaneously when we met each other. I mean, casting is so everything. I connected with her immediately. I would have loved to have had that moment to be able to affirm why I loved Eliza Jane. Y.L. Manzo loved Eliza Jane so much and stood by her and supported her and all that. So I think that would have been a fun moment to do.
Oh my God, that is a great answer. I mean, because it's a great story in
answer.
Farmer Boy. It's one of the best stories in Farmer Boy. You just crack right up, and you can see it. And I can just the flashback, the parents with these fabulous children playing all the little Wilder children, and the little girl who would get to be baby Lucy Lee and baby Almaz. Oh my, yeah, no, that would be killer.
It would. That would have been good. Why didn't they do that in season 9? That would have been so good.
They've been freaking.
They did Blanche instead of the flashback.
Yeah, I would have been delighted to have have that kind of a moment rather than a Blanche moment. But anyway, but that would have been fun.
Yeah. All right, next question. Oh, no one signed this, but the question is actually it's more of a request than a question. Please compare Little House on the Prairie with The Real Housewives.
Well, interestingly, there's a crossover because 2 of them were on the show. Real Housewives of Richards girls, Kim Richards and Kyle Richards. Kyle Richards was Alicia Edwards, and Kim Richards was little Olga with the special footwear in the foot and everything. So it gets really weird. Yes, we had 2 people who became Real Housewives.
Very humble beginnings.
So that's right. Well,
I don't watch The Real Housewives. I've worked with a few of The Real Housewives.
I've seen it a little bit, but I've never.
I think
I don't need to support that show after meeting.
No, obviously, our case, people if they were having a giant hysterical, screaming, totally out of their heads match like they do on the show, they would have gone to Ma Ingalls and vented, and she would have talked to them. They would have brought in. What the Housewives needs, they need a Reverend Alden, they need a Doc Baker or Mr. Olson, they need somebody to come in and be the voice, they need Charles to come and bring them all together, somebody to go, now girls, and work it all out. It's a room full of Mrs. Olson and Nellies.
Right.
And Nancy's. A room full of Nancy's.
A lot of Nancy's.
A lot of them.
A lot of Nancy's. Well, a lot of, yes, that's the color that dominates the Real Housewives.
Yes! Yeah. So
no question.
Somebody else
no
on
question.
So funny.
So whereas Little House was sort of aspirational lessons, foundational lessons in how to live a good life.
Right.
Real Housewives is foundational dysfunction. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody is horrible.
Yeah.
And there's well, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it, but I've never watched it where I didn't feel we were in a room full of people who were really working their hardest to be as miserable and judgmental and catty as they possibly could be. That's the whole nature of what it is.
The nature of reality television is the most negative emotions, the most unpleasant moments of people's lives slammed out for everybody to see. And it's not healthy. It's not reality TV. Is good. All I say is, did we learn nothing from the Dion quintuplets? Google Dion quintuplets. Google An American Family, The Louds. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Now I know what you're referring to.
Look up Dion quintuplets and ask yourself, why are we still having reality TV?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
All right, next question. After knowing about, this person didn't sign it either, but they'll know who they are. After knowing about Laura Ingalls Wilder's real life, is there an event you would recommend to the new series to reflect on that the original Little House on the Prairie did not?
Yes.
Okay.
In our show, I don't think we made Carrie frail. We made Carrie maybe a little not quite bright.
Yes.
But we didn't make Carrie frail. In the books, Carrie's a little frail. She, it's the prairie. They didn't have enough food in the winter. Terrible things happened. People got sick. Carrie was a little sickly. Now, Carrie actually lived to a reasonably ripe old age and became a stepmother to children and had a fine life. But as a kid, she was a little sickly, a little, and in the books, there's the whole thing in the school where Carrie, the teacher, is giving Carrie a hard time for rocking her seat, and it's just that it's uneven. She got like the funky seat, and Laura's like, "That's it," and does the thing of rocking her chair. Like, I will rock my chair then, and you can expel me, and I will cause a scene, and the whole thing. That was a great thing. That should have been in the show. That was a great moment. They put it.
That was a wonderful moment in the musical. Yes,
exactly.
It was great in the musical.
Could have been in the show. It was brilliant in the
Rock,
musical.
rock.
But
I
instead,
think
the
was
most
the-
musical number, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was
musical.
really
It was
well done.
great in the book.
but instead they did Blanche. Everything, it all comes back to Blanche.
You know,
Time for the orangutan.
here's what, I respond to that and say what that kind of texture that you're talking about, Allison, is really what Ed Friendly wanted to
Yeah.
do. That's where his intention was. Michael wanted the show to not be about, he didn't want audiences worried about the principal characters. He wanted everybody well fed. He wanted everybody clean. He wanted everybody to be okay. To deal then from a clean palette with all of the different crises that he would create. But he didn't want audiences looking at the Ingalls children saying, oh, why aren't their clothes clean? Or I'm sorry, their clothes. He just didn't want that. He wanted a clean, clear, everything is okay moment. They didn't have much, but they always had enough.
Yeah. So other people could be malnourished. Other people could be freezing to death.
Correct.
Other people could be sickly and frail.
Yes,
and the
yes.
Ingalls come and help them. But the Ingalls
Yes.
aren't actually starving to death and
That's
having
right.
scarlet fever. And it's like, whereas,
Right.
Well, Mary
they
does,
barely
but
made
yes.
it through the long winter, for God's sakes. It's,
Right. So it's, I wish we'd done, thinking about the episodes, I wish we'd done some version of the long winter. We had blizzards, but it wasn't
not like the
long sustained event, which would have been perhaps difficult to do.
Very hard to do for TV.
Could have
hard
done
to
it
turn
maybe in a
that.
2-hour format, but
Yeah,
anyway,
that's why after season 1 or 2, it was perpetual springtime in Walnut Grove, because
it certainly is. It's
winter.
certainly easier to control those circumstances.
Yeah.
I think we should take a break right here, Pam,
Okay.
and come back and finish.
let's do it. We love answering your questions, and we'll be right back with more.
When you visit Simi Valley, California, you're stepping into the pages of history. Go from the pioneers to the presidents. Explore beautiful wildflowers, hike through iconic Hollywood locations, and end your day aboard the actual Air Force One at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Throughout the summer, take the Little House 50th Anniversary Tour at Big Sky Movie Ranch. Less than 15 minutes from Los Angeles and 30 minutes from Universal Studios, Simi Valley has small-town charm with big-time history. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more information. We are so grateful to visitsimivalley.com for their commitment to presenting the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Hi, guys, we're back. Okay, more questions. This person, who also did not sign who they were, but I saw footage online from Charlotte Stewart that she and Jim Morrison took a road trip in 1970 and were friends until he left L.A. Was she a rock and roll enthusiast? Was she ever? And they did more than just ride in a car together. And she talks about it in her book.
Boy, and you can just see it too. Wow.
Well, yeah, Bob and I go to visit Charlotte up in Napa. This is some years back. This is back when David was alive. We're up there for a thing. And we're hanging, and Bob had not spent time with Charlotte. She maybe met her. And we're in her house, and he's offering her a couple CDs, from his band, his rock and roll band. And he said, Charlotte, do you like rock and roll? And she looked at him like, oh, you poor child, laughed and said, honey, I am rock and roll.
Boom. It's
After
true.
we'd been there a few minutes, he went into the bathroom and saw the autograph pictures from Joni Mitchell and half of the rock and roll world of the 60s.
She and Joni
went,
are good friends.
oh, and backed slowly out of the room and realized that she was in fact friends with most of the people whose concerts he'd been to and whose albums he had, and that she knew them all personally.
Yep.
And we're like, oh, wait. And she's like, so the clothing store I had, we want to get into your pants, Liquid Butterfly. Yeah. Here's all the.
We want to get into your pants.
We want to get into your pants because they made pants and things. The
That's
patchwork,
awesome.
Neil Young's patchwork jeans. That's
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Yeah, that's Charlotte.
I-
Charlotte is
Yeah,
rock
yeah,
and roll.
yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite movies is Almost Famous. And in some ways, Charlotte Stewart is sort of a version of Penny Lane.
Totally.
Read her book.
Totally.
It's like, woo, woo, her book. But yeah, Jim Morrison kind of like showed up on her couch. She had a roommate. She like comes home, like, who's this guy's passed out on the couch? Who's on the couch? Hey, isn't that Jim Morrison? So they hit it off. He's like, hey, I kind of need to get out of town for a while. This happened to him a lot. He had issues. And they go for a ride. They go, let's go to Hearst Castle. There's a picture of them having ice cream on the beach. It's like the cutest thing. And she's like, hey. But as she said, I was friends with Jim Morrison. And then eventually went, okay, friends. We're talking the late 60s, early 70s. You do understand what friends means.
Yes.
And I went, you mean friends with benefits? She's like, honey, it was the 60s. Everybody was friends with benefits. Figure it out.
Different time.
In today's world, you would say she briefly dated Mr. Morrison. But she said, and when all the gossip and rock and roll and stories and craziness and acting out was stripped away, he was really a very sweet guy.
Yeah.
He was a really sweet guy. He had his demons, he had his issues. But he's really a very nice person under it
And
all.
I think this drive that they went on was really right before he passed away. Like it was the last time she saw him.
He like left town after that. It was the thing.
Yeah.
And she's just like, poor guy. And her big thing was he needed a friend, which is also what she said about Victor French. A lot of her stories are, he needed a friend. And everybody say, Charlotte, best friend you could ever have.
Charlotte I've always said about her that even as in her later years, as we've gotten to know her and we've spent more time with her, Charlotte is one of the most beautiful spirits that you can be around. And then you see pictures of Charlotte when she was in her 20s, so on. Charlotte was hot. So hot in this very sort of girl next door kind of way.
Yes.
So hot.
So hot.
Oh, yeah.
Love her. She's one of the best human beings ever. All
right,
next question.
She's the first
next question. Good, Pamela. Crack that whip, Pamela.
Okay, Kristen Baruso wants to know, are there any episodes you can't watch? For example, the one with Ma's injury, Chicken Wire. We all know the Chicken Wire episode.
Are there any I can't
Well, you have a hard time with the stuttering episode, for sure.
I do. I watch it, but it's true. I sometimes
It's so good, though.
I love the music box because the dream sequences and the hanging, and I was like, what is happening? But yeah, the scene where I'm like, woo, I'll watch it, but I'm like, yike, it wins. It's weird. It's like, I know nobody likes watching the one where they blow up the sets at the end, that we can hardly stand it. Honestly, it's so crazy. I always say the only episode that makes me cry is Jasper with the raccoon. It kills me every time. Cannot watch it. Animals, just animals. Don't get me with the animals.
Dean?
The Love of Blanche.
Oh, heard and understood. Let's move on. Okay, next question. That's all you have to say. What is your favorite Rose Wilder Lane story? For example, fascism, scams, complicated mother-daughter relationship, did she commit elder abuse, etc.?
Rose, that is a complicated lady. People are worried about her relationship when Laura got older, but she built them a house. She built them a house next door. They didn't like it and said, no, we went back to the farmhouse, and she wound up.
As soon as she left, right.
She did. I mean, if you read the book when Laura visits her during the Penn Pacific expedition, she absolutely was trying to do right by her parents, is the impression I got. But she was a very strong-headed woman, like Laura. I think Laura and Rose, mom and daughter, maybe a little too much alike, very strong-willed. She was a very unusual woman. If you go to the bookstores in the beautiful little house sites in Walnut Grove, in Missouri, everywhere, you will see some of Rose's books, and some of the titles are like, wait, what? They're not about Little House on the Prairie. No. They're their own thing, her travels in Europe. There is literally a book by Rose Wilder Lane called Islam, The Path to Freedom. She traveled in the Middle East and she wrote this book. She has the whole thing about traveling across, Albania in a Jeep? With what? There's yes, she was an extraordinarily unusual woman, a fascinating person, very brilliant, but not the girl next door. Just not.
No, not at all.
At all. And so and it kind of freaks people out because she's not Little House of Prairie Rose. And no, she ain't no baby Rose. She's her own thing.
You know, what I think is sort of interesting is I don't know that Laura was this thing either. but what I do think is together, what they crafted together was this beautiful aspirational story about what was a very difficult life. And they turned what was a very difficult life into something timeless and beautiful. And they butted heads while they got there. You know, anybody who's been to the Hoover Library and gone through the letters that they wrote back and forth to each other, I mean, they were doing like texting in letters back and forth about specific scenes in books that they were collaborating on together, and really wrestling with what these stories and what these moments were going to become. Really not an easy collaboration, but an incredibly effective collaboration.
Yeah,
that's the best description. The letters between Laura and Rose, the Laura Rose letters while she's again Pioneer Girl in the notes with writing a book. It's like the craziest text stream between mother and daughter. It's like, talk about Real Housewives. They get into it.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah.
It's like, okay, well,
two very positive outcomes, but not an easy ride for either one of them.
No, sir.
Okay, Debbie from Freehold, New Jersey wants to know, for Allison and Dean, if you could have played another character in the series, which one would it have been?
Miss Beadle.
Really?
Really?
What?
I know. It's like, remember, I was the only woman not to teach. Remember, everyone. Mrs. Olson taught a couple classes for French. Mrs. Olson taught.
I loved her French, teaching French. Oh my God, I love that moment.
La parapluie blue. She taught French. Okay, Mrs. Garvey taught for a long time. Etta Plum taught. Ma taught. Laura taught. Mary taught with the Mrs. Beale episode. One of my favorite things somebody brought up at the show. It was great. Mrs. Beale. All the women taught. Except me. I am the only female on that show who did not teach. They wouldn't let Nellie teach. And I thought that would have been fun.
You tutored, though. Not the same. You tutored,
I
but
tutored.
not the same.
I tutored Andrew. Right? I tutored. That was bad. I tutored.
Bad tutor.
I never taught. And I love what Miss Beadle did in her character and all the things that she did in that classroom, the way Charlotte did it. And I thought, okay, who the heck would I be? I mean, I'd be, obviously, I could be Mrs. Olsen now. But I thought if I was somebody else, oh my God, Miss Beadle, that was a great gig. I'd have been Miss Beadle. Yeah, I'd have done
Wow,
that.
I was not expecting that answer at all. I love it, though. I love that. Dean, who would you want to
Mrs.
be?
Olsen in my sleep. But that would be
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's great. Dean, who would you have wanted to be?
Yeah, I think
Miss Beadle.
So many of our characters are sort of, they're sort of archetypal presences in the world. I think there are parts of me where I could have been Mr. Edwards. There are parts of me that sort of the performer that works big.
Yeah.
And Victor worked very big. I think I could have played in that space, put the look aside, just the energy. But then I also think there's another part of me where I think I could have been very effective as a Reverend Alden. Mm-hmm. And in a very, I wouldn't have wanted to kill as many people as Doc Baker did, but I think, I could have also been a Doc Baker.
You could have been a Doc Baker.
You'd have been
Yeah. You could have. Yes, I agree with both of those.
Yes, I guess.
Okay, next question.
Do you agree with all?
I agree
both
with all
or
of them.
all three.
Edwards, Doc Baker. Yeah.
No.
Do you not see the doc? Do you not see the doc? The Mr. Edwards?
I do.
Maybe.
After experiencing the hamming it up in front of the cameras during our social video posting
That
this
is
week,
true.
I was like,
That is
oh,
true.
this man, and I mean this as a huge compliment, Dean. I was like, oh, this guy can do comedy. Like, he really can do comedy. You should be doing comedies because you're really good at it and you have that thing. Like, you get it. So I 1000% endorse you as a Mr. Edwards. Mr. Edwards 2.0.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on.
This person also asked Charles a question. Charles Bloom, our lovely and wonderful curly Daybell. And I emailed Charles this morning and he responded. So I'll read his response.
Fantastic.
So this person asked, Charles, do you ever get recognized by fans of Little House? And Charles wrote back and said, good morning, Pamela. He said, for no less than 15 years after my episode aired, I was approached on the street by Little House fans. When I say approached, I mean for autographs, photos, and a few people actually got out of their cars to speak to me. This was the residual effect of being on the show long after the residuals stopped. In retrospect, I can say these encounters were worth much more. Being on Prairie was a privilege that has revealed itself more and more over the passage of time. That is our beloved Charles Bloom.
He's a lovely guy.
My God,
a
Star is Born.
Star is Born, but I mean, we like, well, this will be fun. We'd had him on the show, and then we said, okay, we'll do the live one. He says, yes. And then he goes, I shall write a song for the occasion. We're like, wait, what?
Okay.
And then
we went,
goes,
okay.
No, I'll write 2 songs for the occasion. And he goes,
he wrote one lyric and one song. I mean, it just,
Both
the Cole Porter night and day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, just so much fun.
It was writing a whole enormous parody of this song. That was a lot of work, and he had and then an entire show where he wrote a musical. He wrote like a whole show.
Really did.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Charles is wonderful, and we will. If we have anything to say about it, we will. Fans of the Little House will see him again. I just think it's too good to have him nuts.
We've kidnapped him and thrown him in the trunk of the car. We're gonna
Yeah.
Such a lovely guy. Such a lovely
Oh my
human
God,
being.
just fantastic. Wow. He was so great with us and so generous with his talent and his time and just authentic, so authentically who he is. It just was really fun.
Dull.
All right, next question. This person wants to know, didn't sign their name, but this person wants to know for Almanzo, Dean Butler, why was Almanzo called manly? Wah, 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 because...
Not manly.
Yeah, it was a slip of the tongue, but this goes back to the Eliza Jane, this is Meet My Brother Almanzo as opposed to Almanzo.
Manny.
That's
Almanzo,
a mystery. Manny.
Yes.
My friends call me Manny. I mean, there are so many things that one little slip, it's so surprising to me that was missed in the preparation of this. And we just never, as actors, we didn't question it because, I mean, Lucy and I certainly didn't question it. We were brand new to this. We weren't going to question anything in the very beginning of this, or really throughout it. We just didn't question. But that was one that was missed. And so, yes, this is my brother should have been. This is my brother Almanzo. Nice to meet you, Laura. My friends call me Manny. Pleasure to meet you. And she's looking at him. Manly. Perfect. That's what it should have been.
Did I ever tell you
we
guys
didn't
that?
know.
No, yeah, right.
We hadn't read the books, so we're clueless. We're like, Almanzo.
I think I put either as my ringtone or like my answering machine that I used the audio for that exact scene.
Really?
Yes. Of her just going, nice to meet you, Manly.
Manly.
Dorky and
pleasure to meet you, Manly, is what she said.
It's so cringe. Okay, next question. Yeah. Allison, could you speak about your personal experience with Michael Landon, how he worked individually with the child and adult actors, and his influence on your development as an actor?
Well, it was crazy because one of Michael's big things was...
Oh, this is from William. Sorry, William. That was William.
Directly, as you saw a lot of the kid actors, and we talked about that when the big emotional scenes where it's just, I love you so much, and it was all about love. With Nellie, because we didn't have as many of those, we didn't use that technique. Because of the audition, I had done my home speech and completely nailed it, and he had been reduced to complete hysteria and couldn't stop laughing. He was like, I want that. So there was this weird thing, and Michael's big thing that all the actors talked about was, Mr. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. If it was good, the way you knew you'd done it right is he said, cut, print, moving on.
And you got this.
That was it. He'd go, see, and you go, if you didn't do it right, he'd go, can we try the, how about if? I'm not sure this is, and you'd get some direction and do it again. But usually what happens is you did it, and somebody went, yep, that's it, cut, print, next, and they'd start moving the camera and the set, and you go, wait, what? Oh, and that meant that was perfect. And so it was like fine. And there were a couple times, because this went on for years, where I go, am I doing this? He's not really saying much. He's laughing every time he sees me. He sees me, says good morning, and starts laughing. And every time I would do one of the more hilarious scenes or something, he'd be cracking up behind the camera, and he'd go, cut, Brittany. He'd be like dying. And I go, okay. But the day I had like the Great Awakening, it was during, I think it was the one the mud fight is in. Is that the mud fight? That's
yes, back to school.
Back to school.
Back to school.
Mud fight episode. And there was a whole thing, and they were in the restaurant and the whole thing, and then he's like, okay, and then you come in and you're totally shocked, and then you're totally surprised, and he was telling everyone in the room what their reaction was to this thing. So yeah, and you're like, what the heck? And then and then you come in this way, and then he looked at me and started like he was cracking up, and he goes, and you do that thing, you give him one of those, that thing you do. And then he giggled some more, and then he walked out of the room and said, got behind the camera and did action. I went, that thing you do one. Oh, you want that?
That's a scary. That's scary stuff, though, because I think I think Allison, you're so fortunate because you knew what that thing.
I knew what he meant,
Yeah.
but I was
did know what it was.
Insert coin in slot. Press. It was like, oh, you then invest in 2 pair of pants. What did you say? What? And I went, oh, and I knew which thing to do he meant. And I was like, okay, it's that bit, that take. But then I went, has that been, that's what we've been doing all that no one told me? Is that what we've been doing all this time? Is that I had certain things that you just knew that I would do. I would, at the very bare minimum, do this, and sometimes maybe this or this, and you wanted that thing, the thing I was doing was the thing you wanted, so you were just kind of letting me run amok and going, yep. And and Claxton even said once to me, very early on, he said, I know you hear me talking to people and telling them to change things, and you hear me tell Catherine, for instance, to rein it in. He goes, because she works very big. He says, that's not a thing with you. It's just not. That's not a thing you're doing that you're going to do. He said, look, if you ever actually do too much or go over the top, I'll tell you. Yeah. So just do whatever the heck you want, and I'll let you know. And so Claxton let me, and I went, oh. And that was what happened. It was run amok, and we'll let you know if you've run too far amok. And I was like, okay. And then, but when he said, that thing you do, and I went, so I've been doing the thing he wanted the whole time. He just hasn't been like, that one. And I went, oh, and I cannot tell. It really was. It was like I went, oh my God. And after that moment, I went, well, why didn't you say so? Oh, I've been doing it right the whole time. Good heavens.
I think this is the thing, and I know, Pamela, you understand this. I think, but our audience should understand that so much of the work that gets done in television, directors are not generally talking a lot to actors. You get a little, as Allison is alluding to, you get a little nudge here and there. But, most of the work is done when they say you're hired. That is basically, that's what they're looking for, that when they see that in the room, they want that. And then if you're moving on the spectrum of the emotional life that a human being has, and you go a step too far in any direction, maybe you're going to get sort of carefully moved back into a safer space. But there's not no one has time. It's just, you've got to move. The director is really focused on the camera and keeping the continuity of the thing moving forward, and actors are expected to bring it.
Yeah, you get like tweaks like, okay, someone says something, you react to it and like you're mad or you're sad or this, and they'll go, okay, I think you're surprised by this. I think you didn't expect her. Oh, I didn't see this coming. No, you didn't see it coming. So add in that like you're shocked.
And that's all you'd need. That's all you'd need.
And it's little things like that.
When you work with a very good director and intimate, for a long amount of time, right? So you guys have you have a common language, right? So, which is the beauty of working with someone, that they know every single move you make. They know you as an actor as well as you know yourself as an actor, and that's an amazing relationship to have with your director, so that he could say to you, do that thing, and you know what he's talking about.
I knew what he meant. It was so crazy. It was like, and then Victor French, Talking Machine, did egg me on when I'm holding Talking Machine, and I conceive of the idea that I shall record Laura in school and
Yeah.
ruin her life. And it was more, and I remember he was like, think of your werewolf comic books, because I'd been reading these macabre, deadly comic books about werewolves and things, and people been teasing me about it. You and your weird horror comics. And he was like, yes, and werewolves and horror comics. It was like Peter Pan when they're trying to fly. Candy, no, more. Christmas, yes, that's it. You fly. It was like that. Like, think happy thoughts.
Yeah.
And he got it. He knew. He said, yes, more, but it's this, but it's that, because it was silent. It was just me doing it. So he egged me on in such a way that demonic grin came up, and he was like, yes, like that. But it's tweaks. It's little tweaks. It's like, we know you read the script. You're doing that, and you know who you are. So it's a little bit like, oh no, this one I think, take it down. You're not that mad yet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or you're more shocked. Oh, really? Just that much. And I half the time I wasn't even getting those, which was freaking me out. And then when he said, just do the thing you do, I was like,
you read the scripts very well, and you did a lot of homework coming in the door. As you're talking about sitting at home with the script, running in tension, just trying different things. I mean, that's the work. And
That's
you
the work.
as you as the villain, as the antagonist, had wonderful opportunities of how to twist the knife. And I think you did really great twisting the knife in all kinds of really fun ways.
well, country girls don't even know what a blackboard is. Country girls don't even know what a blackboard is. Country girls don't even know what a blackboard is. And then, oh yeah, thank you. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. No, exactly.
All right, next
All
question. Nellie.
Okay.
Nellie, did you ever ad-lib any of your favorite lines or reactions?
Oh, there's a few, lines, not so much. We did occasionally a strange, maybe a word here and there thing. I said Jonathan Gilbert, King, the ad lib got away with it. Jonathan Gilbert would just pull stuff out of thin air, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, what? And they'd go cut print, and poor Mary or Charlotte,
yes,
our continuity ladies would be going, wait, stop, because that script, and then Michael would go, I kind of like it. So Jonathan didn't really ad lib much, but some of the reactions, yes, there were some little tiny things, little moments where I went, what if, and I do it, and usually the response was, do that. The wedding, Percival and I get married, and Percival goes to the honeymoon.
Best reaction ever.
Thank you. And I suddenly do a shock look like, oh, wait, this is like where we're going to the honeymoon. Wait, he's bragging about that? Are we discussing this in public and we're going to excuse me? And there's and the moment of, oh no, what have I gotten myself into? Right, there's the honeymoon. I didn't go through with it with the big farmer, but we're really gonna go through with this. And he's telling everyone what? And then we ride off. And it's
the best moment ever.
It's like an Easter egg. It's just this moment.
It is.
And I swear for years, I don't think anybody even noticed it. But in the last few years, people.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yes.
I
It's
get
brilliant.
comments and people emailing me, writing me, going, "Whoa, what was that?"
Okay.
Awesome.
Next
Like that.
question.
Speed round.
Speed round.
And I think let's make it like two more.
We're so
Two more
bad.
questions.
Okay.
Okay.
When the show ended, how did you feel?
Oh, very sad.
Weird, because I left. But I was still talking to people 7 years, and then I went back and did less. So as far as I knew, I went, hey, this is Gunsmoke. Maybe it's going to go on forever. I don't know what these people are doing. It's going to go. I left because I was afraid it was going to go on forever and ever and ever. And so I'm like, okay, why do I? And that's like, whoa, really, whoa, and they're ending it like that. Oh, and then I watched it like. I liked the blowing up. I actually kind of giggled. I went, oh my God.
Well, of course you liked the blowing up. Of course you did. Of course you did. Interestingly enough, I think it might have gone on longer if you had stayed. I think because the dynamic that you brought was so important to the overall vibe of the thing. So I think that's very possible. Not
It's
to put that
totally
on you,
possible.
that you,
I thought
but
about that.
but I think there's something to that.
Yeah. I thought about that. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't say, guys. Yes, I think who knows what the heck would have happened. It would have been a whole. What if Melissa Sue Anderson had stayed? What if who knows what weird.
I think Melissa Sue Anderson really felt like she had done everything she was going to be able
Well,
to
they
do.
threw
in
everything
a way.
at her,
And
yeah.
I think she
than
made a
kill
good
her,
decision. I think you had you always had a lot more the potential for range
Anything could
was really there.
He had been
So,
tortured. I mean, they had done every terrible thing in the world to her. What was left? What was left? Yes.
I'm sure there could have been many more things. But
made a
anyway, you made the
great
decision that you made.
He made a great decision. He made a great decision.
I was, I think we were all, those of us who were there at the end. You know what? I think everyone felt like the show had done everything in its form that it had evolved to. It had done what it was going to be able to do. And it was time for it to end. And I think it was ending. It was really, the ending was happening throughout season 9. It hadn't been buttoned yet. And I think by the end of season 9, they're thinking about what are we going to do to drive this into a season 10.
Right.
We just didn't get there.
Right.
I think they'd made a decision. NBC had made a decision that no, we're going to move on from this. And could we have gone another year? Sure, absolutely. I mean, adding the Mr. Montague character added a vibe that the show had never had before, which was really. But the show was so expanding beyond what its foundation had been, that it wasn't really. It was ceasing to be what it was designed to be.
Yeah.
And I also left because it was my own life. I had literally been on the show for 1/3 of my lifetime, more than 1/3 of my lifetime. And I was like, whoa, so it was like, it was time to just do something, anything else. It was, that kind of thing.
I think we are all those of us who were there are grateful for the overall impression that the show had on people that keeps them coming back to it, continue believing in it, continue learning from it, or gaining just sort of moments of peace and solace from it. That is always there. And so it's this perfect little bundle of storytelling that people can go back to again and again and again. It was sad at the time. So grateful that now, looking back now 40 years later, so glad that I had the chance to be a part of that.
Okay. Another question. Why was Royal Wilder on twice with 2 different families? It's just the age-old continuity issue we've always had on the prairie, right? Like, they just didn't think about it. Didn't think anyone cared.
From the books or the Wilder history? Because you knew the whole Wilder family.
Neither.
Which one was real? Neither.
I mean, neither came. Well, neither story was generated from something from the books. They were wholly. The characters existed, but they were not. They were those. Neither one of those stories was part of the canon of the books.
Do we know how many children Royal had? Did Royal have boys? Did Royal have a daughter?
We know nothing about that. We know nothing about that. At least I now. There are the Laura Ingalls Wilder deep aficionados. They know all of that, but Laura didn't write about that.
This is true.
They know it because they know it, but Laura didn't write about that. So the first royal was an actor named Woody Eni, and Woody came in, and that was a drop off the kids because that's where the story was the 2 children.
Right.
And the second time, royal was Nicholas Pryor, a wonderful, wonderful actor who came in to die.
Right.
And brought Jenny, Shannon Doherty, with him to kick off season 9.
But it is so interesting that they didn't think the audience would remember or care. It's wild.
Do you know that Royal Gould Wilder, was an evangelist and missionary who spent many years in India?
Whoa!
Who knew?
Didn't know
Who
that.
knew?
Whoa.
Who knew? I did not know that. Educated at Low Burke Township, blah blah. But yes, it was a big deal apparently. And did he have kids? I don't. It doesn't. I don't. It's not clear.
So yeah, the most the
So
book
strange.
readers saw of Royal Wilder was in The Long Winter, where he and Almanzo are sharing the store space together, hiding the wheat in the wall that
Yes,
was
yeah,
Almanzo's
yeah,
seed wheat.
yes.
They had pancakes every day. They were never going to starve.
Right, right.
But
Ron,
that's and Royal was the
right.
shopkeeper. Almanzo was the farmer. That's what we knew about. That's really from the book standpoint. That's what we knew about those two. About those
Yeah,
two people.
apparently that's all true. That whole thing with the wheat and the stuff in the town. That's pretty
Well,
much
that's
what's
certainly
going
the way
on.
she wrote it. I mean, yeah.
A daughter, a daughter, Angeline Bernice Wilder. Bernice was born to Royal Electa on September 4th, 1894. Another daughter who was stillborn.
Okay.
And then a third daughter, Susan. Oh, she only lived for 5 months. So it looks like he had a daughter. A daughter.
Okay. Boy, it's such a common thing in that time. And we talk
Yeah.
about, the children that died. I mean, that was so common. And
No,
that's
that's
when
why
people
when
had children. I mean, they had lots of children because children didn't survive.
living to 5 was a big accomplishment.
Was
Well,
a
that's
big
when people
deal.
say
Yeah.
average life expectancy. It's not because everybody died that young. It's because so few people made it past 5 that it makes the it
Yeah.
was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a surviving daughter. He had 3 kids, all daughters, and one survived. So he had a daughter. So the Jenny story. is the
Sure.
real
So
one.
some basis,
Sure.
okay.
Sure. This same person also wants to know, would Dean or Allison ever do theater in New York again?
Hell yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of course. Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if that opportunity. But, I'm also realistic enough to know, and Pamela, I know you can get no one comes chasing after you when you step away.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be actively in this, pushing for it all the time. I mean, yes, there are those actors. Daniel Day-Lewis could go off and make shoes somewhere. Someone's going to come to him and say, "Would you consider?" And then he decides.
Well, he always
those
says,
are-
"This is my last movie," and
Yeah,
then 2 years later, we get another
it's
epic
always,
movie.
It's a very rare actors who can literally step away and be dragged back again. Or give the impression that they're being dragged back again because the part was too good to say no to.
Right.
Most actors have to stay and fight for it every minute. And if you're not prepared to do that, it goes away.
Yeah.
Now, I've done regional. I've done theater in LA. I've done theater in Connecticut. I've done theater in North Carolina. I've done theater over the recent years. It's a thing I do. I pop up once a year or once a year and a half in a play. It's a thing. So yes,
I'd go to North Carolina and do a play.
I would do it. I would do it. North Carolina is awesome. Awesome.
Listen up, agents and casting directors. They're up for it.
Morgan. Yeah. Like it to our friend who has the theater there. Yeah. So, so someone said we have a New York thing and blah, blah, blah. Sure.
Sure.
Well,
No, it's an incredible place to be. I mean, Pamela,
people would love to see you.
I do a comedy show there every year.
Yes, of
constantly.
course.
Yes,
I'm doing
right.
concessions there.
Yes.
And I will be there at the cutting room on Mother's Day. And right before that, I will be in the Berkshires at the Foundry. Thank you very much.
Well, that was an organic shameless plug. I love it. Okay, we have 2 quickies. Quickies, ready?
All right.
Hi, Dean.
Okay.
We're This is hilarious. Hi, Dean. Were you visiting the White Mountains in New Hampshire in the early 80s? My family thought it was you. Or a great lookalike. It was in a KFC, I think. Kathy Reagan. Kathy?
Did you go?
She's been waiting. She's been waiting 40 years to ask this
Oh, it was
question.
in a KFC.
It was in a KFC in the White
KFC
Mountains
in
of
New
New
Hampshire.
Hampshire. I've been to
Yeah.
the White Mountains.
I certainly have been in a KFC. I don't think I've ever been to the White Mountains.
Sorry. Wah, wah, wah.
That was not you getting a piece of the biscuit, a bucket of wheat. You can get a
Yeah, right, exactly.
I
But
love
not
that
in the White Mountains.
This was
But
her
yes, all
opportunity.
those things. Yeah.
Kathy, thank you.
Too funny.
And
Yes, thank you,
okay,
Kathy.
the last one. Pamela, can you shout me out? Misty. What's up, Misty? How's it going?
Who's that lady?
I love this.
Nice.
Okay, listen, guys. We only got halfway through, which means we will have a part 2 of your questions next time. But I think we need to wrap it up for this time. But, we'll get through them. They're great questions, so I hope everyone is very entertained by. I know I am hearing the answers. Yes. Is that it? Well, listen.
I think that's good.
I think we'll come back for a part 2 with finish the questions, and then we'll get back to recapping like we do. But this has been so much fun. Really, listen, the fans, the people, the patrons, the people who live streamed, the people who came in person, we appreciate you so much. You rocked, and everyone was so kind and lovely and supportive. What else can we say about them?
It was great. We cannot thank our patrons enough. Our patrons are the foundation of this podcast. They really, really, truly are, and that's not surprising. But you all do that, and you make it possible for us to do this.
And we're going to have some more perks on Patreon. I mean, we'd have our videos every week that release on Patreon. So if you're not on Patreon, you're missing a lot more conversation and behind-the-scenes action. But we're also going to have some more stuff coming up, possibly from the live event that we just did that you'll be able to partake in. But yeah, if you're not on Patreon, come on. And the more that join, the more we're going to be able to do on the podcast and beyond. Like, do more live podcasts, which I think we all really want to do. So,
oh my God,
it's going to happen.
We're doing that again. We
are definitely going to do that.
We're doing it, and people are responding like, "Come to Florida, come to Minnesota, come to Toronto, come to." So we're in demand.
And your name is now Pamela. Who's that lady Bob? So
I'm claiming it.
That is the funniest.
I am claiming it. It's in the intro video that they made. Who's that lady? Pamela Bob. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Catch us on our socials, Little House 50 Podcast, littlehouse50podcast.com. We're going to be posting a lot about the live event and behind the scenes photos and little clips and little pictures and videos. So check us out, and we'll be back next time. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Although I think this might drop after Thanksgiving.
But so hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Post-Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays.
That's right. It's that time, everybody. Bob, get the wig. Let's fly. With questions.